How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm lit, fit, and I'm sure you're taking no shit. I'm all quips today.
Oh, that'll be an exciting episode.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast. This is your twice monthly podcast, temporarily delivering the juice on Joe. And this is your host, Aaron. And you know, I've mentioned many times the emotional depth of my friendship with my two co-hosts. We go a long way back. So, you know, there's a lot of change in the old friendship piggy bank. We put each other first or very close to it after our significant others and the tots for which we were responsible.
He's going to hit us up for money.
I cherish the uniqueness, the creativity, and the selflessness of these considerate, caring, thoughtful men. I'd do anything for these guys, and I think they'd do anything for me. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, what did you get me for my birthday?
Ah, okay. Well, happy birthday.
Oh, somebody does have a gift. Delightful.
I texted you.
Thanks.
I did too. What time did you text him?
It was like...
Caleb beat you.
Yes!
Oh, okay.
by a wide margin.
I don't have your gift.
All I can say is I'm really glad I checked Facebook that morning.
I double checked it because I'm like, I know it's the 16th, but I couldn't trust myself.
All right, so I've discovered it was your birthday, and I furiously scoured Amazon for ideas, and I think I found something that I think you will like.
Okay.
And so let's just hand it over here.
All right.
It's really nicely wrapped.
It's one of those new corrugate wrapping papers that I've heard so much about. You have not opened this up yet?
I have.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to make sure it was okay.
It's a lazy Susan.
It is. I was
All
Well, I was thinking you could like put your action figures on it
Caleb,
and like turn it really slowly, and you can admire your Transformers on
Caleb texted me a couple of days ago, and you said, "Would you say most of your Transformers have a stance less than 10 inches?"
Oh, wow.
So I don't know. I don't know. I was hoping it would be stable so that just don't spin it really. Yeah, see, that works. And it looks really cool. Like this surface looks kind of like.
So now you can make a video.
It's like he's on Cybertron.
Why is it like he's on Cybertron?
Because it's like little geometric shapes.
All right, I'll take a picture of this.
That's pretty cool.
You can make a GIF of it.
Every one that I found that was motorized, every complaint was like, it's really loud when it turns.
All right. Happy birthday to me, Ryan.
I don't have yours yet.
Yeah. Do you know what it is?
Yes.
I will probably.
It's another lazy Susan.
That would be amazing. I like I do love the smell of that thing. It's outgassing plastics nicely.
Yeah, I do. I agree. I'm sure the factory smells like that, but it's awesome.
That's definitely what cancer smells like.
So,
and it only looks lightly used.
It's not. Yeah, I think it's just.
It's got to be pretty new if it still smells like that.
Yeah, it's not lightly used. It's just the way that that's made.
It's perfectly imperfect.
Thank
you, Caleb.
You're welcome. Hopefully, when I come over, like I'll see that you've used it, or maybe I'll probably never see it again.
I need to figure out how to incorporate it. I have been thinking about things like stands for this to elevate characters on the back and just provide a little more depth. I feel like it almost would be kind of cool with, a bigger character that...
that's a 12-inch diameter. You can go up to 12-inch stance on that thing.
That's a wide stance.
That's right.
The senator from, what was it, Minnesota?
Oh, yeah, tapping his toe.
That's right. That's a classic reference. So, you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Oh, I'm Ryan. I don't have a gift.
I'm Caleb. I win.
Once again. 2 for 2 on the birthdays. my best friend.
Yes.
So, what are we doing? Last episode, we covered, some may say exhaustingly so, the infamous
What are you talking
episode, Dark Awakening.
We
So,
eventually covered that episode.
Season 3 of the Transformers. But we're back to Joe until we wrap this sucker up here.
I'm expecting to see a big drop in the weekly RSS feeds from last episode to this one.
Yeah, and I guess we don't know yet because this episode isn't aired.
It's coming out tomorrow.
Maybe it's a time travel thing. I'll never mind. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
I forgot that Caleb had,
Oh, God damn
hasn't
it!
seen.
I feel like that's not that big a spoiler.
It's really not. I mean, you're kind of getting into that immediately.
I haven't seen Endgame.
Man, I saw it last Sunday, and I tell you, the week up into seeing it, I had to like just scroll so fast through like Twitter and like just anything where I saw a picture of any Avenger, I'm like, nope, gotta go.
I've just been focusing on Game of Thrones.
But
that's
then-
what I've been.
I've also been gun shy on Twitter because of the incident.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. You want to talk about that?
What incident?
I got us banned for 12 hours.
Oh yeah.
Oh, was it? I thought it was 24.
It may have been, but by the time I saw it, it was 12.
Okay.
So what happened was,
12 of those hours we were asleep.
yeah, because it was late at night that I tweeted it. It was somebody talking about the show I Think You Should Leave on Netflix, which is a comedy skit show, and it's awesome. Like Wes and I watched a couple episodes, and one of the episodes is a baby contest where they're like, it's like a reality show but
seen it.
babies. Yeah, and one of them is
great.
named Harley Jarvis, and he's like the bad boy that everybody hates.
Yeah, yeah.
And at one point they go, "We hope you fucking die, Harley
This
Jarvis."
cute little baby.
And so the person on Twitter talking about that show was specifically talking about that episode, and I replied to them and I said, "I hope you fucking die, Harley Jarvis." And they liked it, and that's what got us flagged for abusive language.
I like how Ryan's like, but they liked it.
Well, I'm just saying,
no one's gonna go and like watch the no one's gonna go to the trouble of putting it in context to understand it so that you don't get banned.
I understand that it's an algorithm. It's just like that's like just some of the horrible like racist shit I've seen that's allowed, and that's what gets flagged.
It's true.
So
Good job,
Yeah.
when Caleb discovered that we'd been banned, I think you were trying to like something that somebody else put out there.
I was trying to do things with our account, essentially.
You know, be the VP of social media enterprises that you are, and so you sent a screenshot of that notification. Then I went in and tried to like something. I got the same notification, and we were talking about it when we discovered it. You didn't chime in for a good hours, and I was like so flustered by it. Yeah. I'm like, I'm getting to the bottom of this. What's happening here?
I'm going to submit a ticket.
And I said, I did submit a ticket, which has not been answered yet. But I said, look, there must be some miscommunication here because we're a pretty innocuous account in that way. So, let us know. And also I was a little annoyed because I was like, they banned us and didn't tell us why. They just said, you're banned.
The problem was that I had already fixed it by that point.
Right, so that's an extra problem. So I submit that ticket, then you come back and give us the info on what probably got us our ban, and now I still haven't heard back. We're a low priority ticket answer, but they do say they'll within 3 days or something like that they'll respond. But now they're going to respond and say, here's why we did it. They're going to give us the visual evidence of what you did, and now in my head it's like not worth it enough to go back and accept, because now it looks like we tried to cover it up on purpose, and also so now I've got to say, first of all, we didn't cover that up. I didn't know about that. This is actually three of us.
There's no to go to the trouble.
You don't have to say anything.
There's no reason to say anything at this point. I've given up. But they do make a point of saying like repeated offenses will get you banned permanently. I don't want this to count as an offense.
Yeah.
But are you thinking that there's going to be more offenses in the future?
I mean, we have this guy on our team.
That's true.
Listen, that's the one thing. I'm not offensive, like publicly. I'm not offensive privately.
Here's what Ryan said. I was like, maybe it's a copyright issue, or I don't know. Ryan puts perverted stuff up there all the time.
They let hardcore porn.
Yeah, and then Aaron's
Twitter.
like, "Well, porn is allowed," and I'm like, "That's true." And then Ryan comes in and goes, "Sorry, I forgot to explain this earlier. I commented on somebody's post about a comedy show on Netflix, which I watched, watched, and I put a quote in there from the show, but the quote said something about "fuck you, I hope you die." So that's what they're saying we violated. So I just deleted it, and Aaron goes, "I see." Yeah, so anyway.
That response, I was like, oh, I think he's mad.
He just because he went all that he jumped up and started. I'm gonna submit a ticket and get to the bottom of this. And I get
Submit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
we're back. We're back, baby.
We're back. It's been a couple weeks. Are you guys all rested up from that marathon recording session?
I was in bad shape.
You were
Oh,
sick.
that's true. That's
and
true.
plus, we were together for like 4 hours.
It was
I
a
fell
long
asleep.
session.
I fell asleep during it.
TFCon Toronto is upon us. Are you guys going to go to that? July 15th?
I think you know that we're not.
Oh, well, there was one. Was there not talk at some point?
There's always talk.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not.
I would love to go to every
Cross
con.
that off the list. TFCon DC is upon us. October. You guys want to go to that birthday trip for Jet?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It depends on so many factors, like, because my girlfriend is actually applying for a new job, and if she gets it, she probably won't be doing the marathon in KC, or the half marathon she's wanting to do in KC during that week, and I may or may not be doing it with her, and then it's contingent upon that, and then also if I want to have a Halloween party or something, but or if
Ultimate Halloween party at DC.
Sounds like a no-brainer. If you go to TFCon DC, you get out of having to run a marathon.
Well,
There you go.
I like running. I just recently did the 80s 5K.
Which is
Orion
amazing
Pax.
because you like running, but you really don't like going anywhere.
Well, you don't go anywhere. You end up right back where you started. On 5K. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know.
I still find it ironic.
It's
Caleb.
weird.
It's the only exercise I enjoy.
I think we should consider it.
Okay, I would definitely consider it. And provided that I'm in a monetary position to do so.
Right. I honestly think that if we decide to do it, we should decide early, and we should actually
often.
have a table, and we should do another
Some more merch
presentation.
Oh,
and we should make more merch for that table, and we should do a presentation.
just the lonely shockwave one.
No, I mean an hour.
Yeah,
There's more to do.
that was fun. That was a good time.
I'm still high off of it. An idea that Melody reminded me of that I think would be a cool idea draw for the table is if we sold T-shirts. Remember that Ice Cube T-shirt that I got you at the Austin City Limits Festival? Well, the way that was produced was really cool. They hand cranked it through like an old timey press to apply the ink right in front of you. And we could do that. Like if we had these one color shirt designs, I could just bring a screen set up
printing.
and we could just do a little whoop whoop. And I've got a dryer as well. So we could just do a whoop whoop, seal it in and give it away. It could be a fun little theater.
Yeah.
Like pulled saltwater taffy.
I have an idea. We should sell the merch that is languishing on our online
We
website.
don't have that much left, do we?
I was going to get to that. I was actually going to get to it at the end of the show. There's a very limited quantity. Very low, yeah.
If you recall, Aaron gave away a lot at LA.
So, what an epic 100. We talked way too much. I got drunk. You can hear my mind slowing down as the show progresses. It was exhausting after I listened to it
I
again.
can pinpoint the exact moment where the switch flips.
I do.
I don't understand your inebriation cycle
It's
because
fast.
you're fine, and then bam, instant drunk.
Yeah, there's been multiple episodes where it's just like immediately.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Well, one good thing that came from it is we made a new friend, Dreadnoks, a mysterious character that I guess is an amalgamation of the G.I. Joe villainous team.
I guess. You think it is.
He made an appearance on Mike Seibert Radio.
He's getting out there.
He's already doing press.
He's doing the podcast circuit.
Let's see. I turned 41. Oh, File Card Challenge check-in.
G My Joe.
G My Joe File Card Challenge check-in. Caleb, while I look up the last one that's been submitted, will you refresh the listener on what the G My Joe File Card Challenge is?
Sure. You create a G.I. Joe file card and then you throw it into your trash can.
Alternatively, you can post it to Twitter at APODDcast, hashtag GMyJoe, and basically you go to joecustoms.com and that provides a template for you to create your profile. Yep. And you could throw that in the garbage. You could frame it, or you could post it and enter our contest in which you're going to get all the APDC swag, rather, and some special art that Ryan is working on that's Joe-centric. And we have a new submission.
We do.
And this submission comes from Professor Insane.
Yeah.
Really, I think his entry is inspired by Ryan's APDC AD.
A little peek behind the curtain is he said he had to make it a dick joke in order to work up the energy to actually do it.
Sure. Right. Professor Insane, among the contingent, I'm assuming, of people who want us to hurry our way through this G.I. Joe journey.
Get this over with.
Anyway, Ryan,
his handle is at Insane Galvatron, so.
Right, yeah. I do all the talking, Ryan. Would you mind to read this
sure thing.
Profile there?
Should I do it in the APDC AD voice?
Sure.
Sure.
Codename Huge Erection. Sniper. Primary military specialty cougar hunting. Social security number 69 G-Spot. Birthplace BFE, Georgia. Born and raised in southern Appalachian Mountains, Huge Erection was fascinated by his older cousins. Having an affinity for them instead of people his own age meant he skipped a lot of school to hang out with older people. In his teen years, he spent a lot of time outside the local bars picking up older women. As part of a plea bargain to avoid jail time for incest, he joined the military. Preferring the more seasoned opponents, Huge Erection is the master of his long rifle. He can find and hit the smallest and best hidden target. His accuracy and stamina can be most satisfying. His biggest weakness is tight spaces with no room to swing his big barrel.
Oh, no.
He is also only good for one mission per day. After expelling all his ammo, he needs a nap to recharge.
I really like this profile. Very clever, and I think the part that made me laugh the most was his biggest weakness is tight spaces and one mission per day.
I like the one mission per day, and it's a picture of a dude with a very powerful mullet.
Yeah, that's like a classic redneck meme image. Yeah, the thing that he keeps dipping his toes into incest.
Yeah,
but he doesn't really like totally go all the way.
It seems to be all over the map between young incest and old women.
Yeah. He almost did time as part of a plea bargain to avoid it. Was it with his older cousins? Would it not be his older cousins who would get in trouble for that?
Do we really want to go and think about that?
Well, I'm just saying, Professor Insane at Insane Galvatron, if you want to update this with more of the incest tales, I'm on the edge of my seat.
You can't get away. If Pornhub is to be believed, everybody's into it.
I'm glad that there's another I'm glad that he contributed. I'm glad there's another G-My.
He's in the hat.
Yes.
Do we have 3 now or 4?
I don't know. It depends on if you count the ones you guys have made.
No, we're not.
We do not.
I've got one in progress, so
that should be ready.
That won't count
by
either.
the time this is over.
I want to enter it in at the very end and then win.
Yeah. So we don't send anything out. You just keep it all here in the arc.
I feel like what I'm working on is I want to make Cher the character, Cher. And inspired by her amazing performance in the Turn Back Time video, G.I. Joe recruited her.
I like that because the video she's on a naval ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I actually am very intrigued by that.
Or I just threw it away and I'll never work on it.
Okay, great.
It's a one-note joke.
I like that.
So before we get into the episode, shout out to Twitter who banned us. But we already went into that. And also shout out to a new person that's shown up on the Twitter scene.
Yes.
Shockwave at One Lonely Con. Lonely Shockwave has joined the Twitter sphere. I feel like we know who this is, I believe, in real life, but I like to keep it a mystery to everybody else out there.
It's just Lonely Shockwave.
All right. And, tweet after tweet, I think he proves out why he is lonely.
I hand it to he's on the nose. You really feel that loneliness. For example, May 12th, called mom today, heard Megatron laughing in the background cleaning his barrel.
Hashtag what a dick.
Yeah.
So if I encourage all Twitter users, if you come across One Lonely Con on the Twitter sphere, put him in his place. I mean, he's there to be a punching bag for us all.
Oh, are you encouraging abuse?
I would
yeah.
say friend him and maybe try to I was going to say make him
Reach
feel
out.
welcome. Reach out.
Yeah, well,
You're just
look who's the ginger ale of the podcast now. It's Caleb.
shit.
So, last episode recap. Let's take a little journey through the veil of remembrance and recap this episode from a goddamn month ago. We sat in the jury box of... Is it jury or drury? Drury.
That's a college.
Jury. We sat in the jury box of
what
the,
is he talking
of
about?
the trial of Cobra Commander and learned the history of Cobra Law. Cobra Law used to kick all the ass, but then climate change and evolving humans forced them into hiding in the cold, cold mountains. Cobra Commander used to be a handsome, bald man until an unfortunate lab accident left him butterfaced from the toxic waste. He went from an 8 to a 4, but he managed to maintain that yoked-out torso.
Yes, he was ripped.
Cobra Law hates inorganic technology, but they equipped Cobra Commander with lots of it anyway, and in fact they need the most advanced technology available to complete their plan of blossoming mushrooms in outer space to turn people into zombies.
Okay.
Cobra Commander is found guilty of his crimes, a failure, by the way. He gets a dose of the spores and is thrown in with the Joes, and then we shift to Falcon, who gets chucked from a chopper to hook up with Sergeant Slaughter and the Renegades. And now it's time to get in to the Jover view, gentlemen.
Eddie's disease.
What we're doing.
You don't have to walk. You can run.
I love that line.
It's pretty good.
So we kick things off at around 51:37. We're back at Cobra Law. And some guards are dragging Cobra Commander to the pen where the Joes are kept. He is screaming. It is very off-putting.
Yeah, shipwreck, though.
Yay.
I'm glad to see him. He says, "Save my bones for Davy Jones." That phrase means nothing.
Is this his only line in the movie?
I do not know. I guess we'll have to see. What does that even mean? I Googled it. I thought
You know
maybe it was some...
Davy Jones' locker.
I get that, but I just figured it was a phrase people said.
No, I think the writers probably took up Davy Jones' reference and mashed it up.
And why does he have to rhyme? Why does so many people have to rhyme?
Well, as I had a note about that in just a second where Roadblock says, "Forget that, man. Remember the plan.
Yeah.
When they open the gate, we're gone." And I expected that to rhyme at the end, and it did not.
Yeah, he started his rhyme and then he just let it fall off, and I think we'll see more of that.
I think it works. They had to say something instead of ship. Actually, I would have liked this if Shipwreck would have looked out and been like, "Holy shit!"
I mean, they're allotted one shit per movie. I think
That'd be more. Actually, from a military, if he was actually in the Navy, he would have probably actually went like, "Holy shit! What the fuck?"
Fuck my ass.
Yes.
But since they did never release this in the theaters, they would have taken it out anyway. So
Roadblock, as Ryan alluded to, he's formulating or letting us know that there's a plan, and the plan is basically that they're going to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, every prisoner's plan.
and ladies, I'm sorry in advance. The Cobra Law guard jams a giant fucking rhinoceros beetle.
This made me laugh so hard.
Into another wall-gina, which activates the gate. Even Led Zeppelin couldn't have dreamed up this kind of mystical fuckery.
Just shove a fucking stag beetle into a sideways puffy vagina, and it makes a splorch sound.
Oh God!
He just ripped a horn off there.
Yeah, Roadblock rips a horn off, and the Joes come out swinging. You'd think the guards would have been a little bit more prepared for this. They jump the guards, throw some of them into pits that have fields of claw-like weeds that remind me a little bit of Level 7 in Mario 3. The Joes are all taking
I was thinking
off.
more Contra.
Oh yeah, probably is more
They
Contra.
leave poor Cobra behind on the ground.
Yeah, they leave Cobra behind. Cobra
Commander.
Commander is like, help a brother out. Serpentor and Globulus are kissing each other's ass when they notice some commotion. Serpentor freaks out, but old Galabi stays chill over there. Quick Kick directs the Joes towards what he believes to be the exit. Cobra Commander tries to tell him it's a trap, but only Roadblock can heed the warning. Any thoughts on this sequence here?
No.
Nope.
I just the next thing I had coming up was involving Snake Eyes.
Some vines grab the Joes and lift them into the air. Quick Kick is being strangled. Snake Eyes is using his sword that sounds like a bullet ricochet sound
I thought it
effects.
sounded kind of like Hot Rod using his little handsaw on the vines, the aquatic
Maybe
vines.
we'll have to compare that.
But also, fucking Snake Eyes still has his sword and grenades.
Oh yeah, they would have taken his sword away from him.
Well, and I think we discovered that was it Lady
J has her arrows.
has her bow and arrows.
Oh yeah.
But then also, I'm like, obviously, what is happening where maybe Cobra Lodge is just not concerned because they get captured pretty easy.
Yeah, it doesn't
Right.
really matter, does it?
Right.
Maybe-
They like to
maybe-
give
I
him a
think-
false sense of hope.
What's that thing that reference? Like you have Serpentor throwing the snakes and they just keep coming back.
Oh, like the hammer space or bag of holding or
Whatever that, yeah. So maybe I would imagine that Joe characters have the same thing. Like Snake Eyes just always draw swords out, and Lady J has an infinite supply of arrows.
That technology seems like it's way more advanced than the BET.
It's just a fan thing that's
it's
it's a convenience.
It's explaining.
yeah.
Yeah, unlimited
potholes.
bullets. Unlimited bullets.
Right.
I don't
So
have to reload.
Lady J is being pulled up into the sky. It turns out there is no escape from Cobra Law.
Nope.
Cobra and Roadblock, Cobra Commander and Roadblock strike a deal. The Commander will show Roadblock the way out, but Roadblock's got to take Cobra Commander with him, and maybe not rhyme so much because it's cool at first, but it gets annoying.
Roadblock's he's a strong character in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
and he's like my buddies. Like you feel sorry for him, and then he has to put up with a lot of bullshit. I mean, like the rest of the movie, like he's essential.
true.
He's probably the strongest Joe character in the whole movie.
I think he gets probably at least a third of the screen time
Yeah.
from the other ones, like Falcon maybe, and maybe Duke. But
I think him, and maybe Sergeant Slaughter have the most integrity of anybody in this movie as a Joe.
I did like where he strikes up the deal with Cobra Commander. I spent a lot of time wondering how you would turn someone's eyeballs inside out, which is the threat he uses. Like, if you betray me, I'll turn your eyeballs inside
I know how you do it. You turn someone's eyeballs inside out with the bones of Davy Jones.
Perfect.
I'm glad all the rhymes are connected. So they strike that deal, and Roadblock is like, fine, but then he and Cobra Commander just walk towards a tundra in just plain sight of everybody. I was thinking that maybe, he knew a hidden passageway.
I think that's
or
the
something
implication.
Like that.
It's the water. It's the water.
Oh, I see.
He does get out.
But they have to expose themselves for a brief period of time, and
Yeah.
Globulus sees them. He sends Nemesis Enforcer over to dispose of them, and that is where Nemesis Enforcer, aka I've put down Frank Welker, but it's not Frank Welker. It's
Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen throws some blindness right in
That's
Roadblock's
right.
face, and Roadblock still manages to get in a few.
Oh
good
yeah,
punches.
he catches his fist and punches him. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
While Nemesis Enforcer is on the ground, Roadblock picks up Cobra Commander, who is acting as his eyes, and they run off a cliff.
I love this part where he says, "I'll be your eyes," and then he says, "Run," and points in the direction to run.
Yeah, he's not doing a very good job, really. But and I thought so. I always thought that them running off a cliff was an accident because of Cobra Commander's incompetence.
No, I
at
think
being
that's-
his eyes.
that's where they were
But that's
going.
the
He knew that
escape
there was
plan.
that secret river that got out of there, so he
All
made him run down there. I mean,
And this part where they're in the river, Buzz Dixon touches on this, but you got to just give some stuff away to fiction where that water would be so cold.
Oh yeah.
all right.
Well, although it does seem that there is sort of a tropicality to this little Cobra.
Sure,
Law
but it's got to
area.
dump out somewhere.
Well, none of this makes sense.
No.
So let's just go with it. All right.
All right,
But you have to have. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that's why we don't address it.
it is a cool, almost alien landscape with the plants, the spiky plants, and there's these catacombs in here. So they run off into the river. They're underwater for a long enough time that Nemesis Enforcer can
That's
scan
a fast-moving river.
the scene very quickly, and he flies off as we transition to the next scene here. At 5508, the Cobra peeps are walking through the field of spores, and these spores are starting to launch. And as Serpentor notes, they still need the BET to fulfill the plan. And
The launches are cool.
They are cool. We go real quickly back to Cobra Commander and Roadblock. Cobra Commander at this point is depressed.
To say the least.
and he says, "Useless, all useless."
His mind's starting to go.
It is, yeah. I guess that's the truth. And he Roadblock is trying to tell him to keep it together, and that's when Cobra Commander delivers Caleb's favorite line.
Once a man, something like that. Like
Yeah.
I was once a man.
Point.
Man.
This helmet comes off.
Cobra
Yes,
Commander's
faceplate.
faceplate comes off, and Roadblock retrieves it, and he's like, "Hey, this is your faceplate."
The animation in this section is really quite good.
It is, absolutely. Cobra Commander says something very weird at this point. So Roadblock is like, "If this is your faceplate," and Cobra Commander says, "Was my faceplate just like I was once a man?"
Yeah, it's a sad
Like,
moment.
change the record. I get it.
It's depressing, but it's fascinating because you finally get to see Cobra Commander's face,
And it is gross.
but it's all messed up, you know.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, it's scary, and you get to see the inside of his faceplate, which is I remember that was being fascinating because the inside of his faceplate is all this electronics.
It's very techy and
Did you-
circuity.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
the-
almost it's like seeing Darth Vader. I mean, that's
Just like that.
That's a well. It's
No,
like,
I'm kidding. You're
it's
right.
a
It is
level.
like
It's
that.
that kind of. It was for me, anyway.
Except
This-
instead of a crusty old white man on the inside,
That's right.
it's this
Snake.
multi-eyed serpent face here.
Did you guys ever see the movie Enemy Mine with Dennis Quaid?
Yes, I did. Mhm.
This is what this reminds me of. Cobra Commander's reptilian
a good
version
movie.
reminds me of the alien from Enemy Mine.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Go out and watch Enemy Mine.
I hate that teeth situation.
I think it's supposed to be just a different colored
Scale.
Yeah, but it does look like teeth.
Yeah.
So you think it was miscolored?
Well, when he talks, it doesn't look like they're teeth to me.
It
they
kind of does.
move.
I think it's just
It kind of does.
anyway. So yeah, they're getting out of there. He does his first once a man.
Do you guys assume
It's
that...
a pretty cool scene.
Yeah.
I assume, tell me if you guys back me up on this, that those eyeballs are actually from his first mutation.
Yes.
And so those are remnants of when he still had a more humanoid face, but just extra eyeballs.
Yeah, from a couple episodes ago, whenever he mutated, and I asked, so under that faceplate, does he have a bunch of eyes? I think that's the implication, is that he did, and they just changed into this reptilian version.
He is unfuckable now.
He's a real butterface.
More spore rockets take off. Cobra tells Roadblock that unless they hurry up and get to the Joes, the world is in Barney Rubble. Trouble. Thanks, guys. Speaking of Joes, the sun rises over a rocky desert landscape.
Okay. This music that plays over the Renegade base, it sounds like something I expect to be under like gnomes gathering acorns. It's so cute.
Sorry you missed breakfast, Falcon. But that's what happens when you're...
But then the base looks like something from Beyond Thunderdome.
I love it. They're just eating big, huge ribs.
Yes.
Look at all the plates. On
I know,
the table.
there's conservatively 100 plates on that table.
So we see the slaughterhouse, which it's a makeshift training yard, and as we were alluding to, the fortress itself appears to be welded out of parts of various planes and ships and towers and sundries. It looks like an art project. Inside the slaughterhouse, and as you guys were saying, it seems that the name for this fort may not just be a cute riff on Sergeant Slaughter's name, because we see Sergeant and the Renegades feasting on what must be 18 pigs. Like,
Yes.
They're
there's
massive
just
ribs.
Ribs for miles, and so it's possible this is an actual functioning slaughterhouse. And plates are stacked to the ceiling. It's buffoonish. The awesome
I
drawings.
mean, look behind it on all the plates on the counter, even.
Yeah. Well, and to your point on the music sounding like an elfin village or something like that, their furniture looks like it's straight, and they're like the counters look like
it's
it's out of
true.
a hobbit.
They're in the Shire.
Yeah,
absolutely
It does
right.
look like an
Right.
English village interior.
But we just saw a lot of really good drawings in the previous sequence. Not so much here. It looks very silly. Falcon walks in. He's missed breakfast, and because Sarge is going to be a dick to him, he puts him on KP duty immediately, and then straight out to the yard for some training.
I just like when it cuts back from Sarge throws the napkin into Falcon's face and says, "You're on KP duty," and then the camera pans up from Sarge's tits.
It's weird.
Like it's my eyes are up here, disease.
I feel like there is a fair amount of male body show-off sequences, like trying to do
Sergeant Slaughter is
glistening muscles.
huge.
Yes,
These guys.
We'll have to look up and compare the animated Sergeant Slaughter's body to the real one, because the real Sergeant Slaughter was a big guy, but I don't think he was
not like this.
chiseled.
Nobody is.
Nobody looks like this.
Nobody looks like this. No.
So next up we see tire exercises, pull-ups, wrestling with his teammates.
Yeah.
You know how they do at the slaughterhouse. Even Rocky had a montage.
It's a good old montage, yeah.
And Duke, at this point, and Sergeant Slaughter, they're having a little call on the side, and he's telling Sergeant Slaughter that the Renegades need to infiltrate the Terrordrome to figure out, what's going on with the Joe's captured friends in the Himalayas.
He does confirm that it's the Himalayas. This is the first mention
That's true.
where it's actually the Himalayas.
Good point. He also asks about Falcon, who the Sarge believes has potential. Mm-hmm. Sergeant Slaughter has a chin like Bruce Campbell.
It is a very impressive chin, yes, very powerful on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Here is where some extra ludicrous things start to happen. So,
what do you mean?
Sarge briefs the team. They're going to the Terrordrome. Falcon, who's trying to show off a little bit, says, "Hey, we should do it with no weapons." And Sarge says, "Yeah."
And the ex-Cobra agent is like, "That's suicide." And Sarge is like, "We're doing it."
It's like, what is a terrible idea? I'd be like, yeah, it's...
And the not having weapons never comes back because they almost instantly have weapons.
Yeah, I can't remember. Did they steal them from
Yes,
the armory or
they
something like that?
They infiltrate first the armory.
Well, it's okay. If you stole the weapons, you didn't bring them with you.
There is actually a reason behind it. Buzz Dixon says later there is an actual military reason to not bring weapons on recon.
Better yet, no clothes.
What's the matter? Can't take it?
He's handing out blindfolds.
So we then transition to a scene of the BET being lifted from the back of a truck while Joe's scarlet mainframe, leatherneck, lifeline, and dock. That is a very big truck.
Holy shit.
I don't know what roads that thing is driving on. But they're all patting themselves on the back for how great their plan is to hide.
Cobra will never find us.
To hide the BET in a civilian security lab. But of course, the Baroness has been spying in disguise this whole time.
She's very happy about it.
She runs out of the lab, laughing maniacally. And, I feel like, hey, maybe don't run away so suspiciously the very second you've seen the BET.
She looks great, by the way.
Oh, her hair. She definitely uses Pert Plus.
Yeah.
Conditioner and shampoo.
I will
together.
say that Baroness always on fleek.
Thank you, 2009. She I will say, G.I. Joe, like many comparisons to the Autobots, their security is garbage. But then we'll see in a second, Cobra's not much better. I will say the lab to me from the exterior kind of looks like a Jawa sandcrawler.
Yeah, I could see that. So I also would say that she could wait to take off her disguise until after she gets off the facility.
It's not very cinematic.
Even better yet, just finish your shift, clock out, leave like you normally would, and then take off your hat.
Yeah, because
laugh in the
then
background.
we wouldn't know.
But today was Sarah's birthday, and they were going to have cake in the Commons.
She's going to wait around forever. Okay, well. The head of espionage, she runs on some pipes and jumps the fence and gets out of there.
She was great.
The Renegades and Falcon show up at the Terrordrome in their devilfish sneaky boats, and they throw some blankets on top of them.
Go back. Look how Sergeant Slaughter rolls up on his.
He does have a Washington crossing the Potomac pose.
Yeah. He's so big he can't sit down.
He just rolled up like that.
I feel like he had to drive it half standing up.
Yeah, he did. That's great.
They throw some blankets on top. Ex-Cobra Mercer directs them to some air conditioning vents as
The
the way in.
old crawling through the air ducts trope.
You'd think that they would have discussed it before showing up, as opposed to, we're here now, what do we do?
They're a real fly-by-the-seat-of-their-pants operation.
Well, they have no weapons.
I was just going to say one little thing on the crawling through the air ducts thing. It is discredited now, but it has happened in real life. Frank Morris and 2 accomplices escaped Alcatraz through air ducts in 1962, and they had I fell down a rabbit hole of this story because they made a raft out of 50 raincoats stolen over the course of several weeks.
Have you never seen the Clint Eastwood movie about Escape from Alcatraz?
I think I may have only seen one Clint Eastwood movie.
They made paper mache heads. Yeah,
yes, they did.
And they were never found.
It's suspected they probably died, but there's evidence that they may not have.
Yeah.
It's usually very unsuccessful and dangerous. Did you guys hear about the guy who got stuck in the Chinese air, grease duct?
Is it a Chinese grease duct?
Yeah, it was Chinese. I'm sorry, it was a Chinese restaurant. This guy was trying to break in, and he went through the shaft above the vent above the grill.
He got stuck.
Yeah, he got stuck in there for 2 days. Couldn't move.
Were they cooking food while he was stuck up there?
The place was closed, and it was a nearby establishment where the guy who was hearing the pictures are harrowing. He's just so covered in grease, looks like a monster.
I want to see that mugshot.
They don't even clean him up for it. Yeah. He
Yeah.
just looks like a sludge monster from Star Trek.
So the Joes are climbing up to that vent, and I didn't notice this before. The security to get into it. Look, they don't change the code first of all, so so we can just get in there.
Everybody knows you need to update that shit every month or so.
And also the strange alien symbols that are used on the keypad here. They get in the air conditioning. They overhear Serpentor giving a big speech. They know where the BET is. They're going to get it. They're going to haul it back to Granny's body house. And then
Nice.
they are going to, take over the world, of course. So Falcon's going to alert G.I. Joe. The Renegades are going to take out the armory. Sergeant Slaughter hangs from the ducts.
This is pretty funny.
He using some stunning circus acrobatics. Taurus shimmies down Sarge's body.
It's quite crazy.
And uses his legs to grab and kidnap one of the Vipers.
Just yoink.
Another thing about Sergeant Slaughter, doesn't matter how dark it is, how light it is, them shades ain't coming off. I think he sleeps with them on. When he gets punched by
Nemesis Enforcer.
those shades stay on.
Well, and we'll see some more Nemesis Enforcer action. I'm going to keep an eye out for the shades.
All right.
Yeah.
And
All
what
right, watch them
happens
shades.
upcoming. I think that's in the next episode.
I think they're stapled to his head.
Maybe that's just.
Yoink.
Maybe they're not shades. Maybe that's organic. Maybe that's part of his body.
Maybe. I think he's just like, staple them to my head.
I do like the punching from what's his face, I can't remember his name, the circus acrobat guy into the Viper's face plate.
That's Taurus.
Thank you.
That is the second reflection-based punch that we've seen in this movie. These guys are taking over the armory, and we get, as that was happening, that whole body grab thing, we got a Metal Gear Solid, kind of moment, as Viper number 2 realizes that his pal is gone. So they're knocked out, the team takes what they want, and they plant a bomb on the rest. The Renegades, they charge more Vipers who flip their table over, their poker table over, to take cover, and a laser fight ensues. An alarm is pulled.
The lasers at this part are pretty awesome.
Yeah, they do look great. They're a little petite, but the detail on them, especially the sparks and all that, looks really cool.
Good stuff.
So then we get to...
That guy with the intruder mask.
That is a televiper. So we are at inside the communication room. Falcon is still in the ducts at this point. The word intruder wipes across the televiper's face. And are we to believe his visor is displaying this, or is it a reflection of a screen?
Well,
because it should be backwards if it was a reflection.
I think this same kind of thing happened on the animated series, I think. That was part of the...
Is it
the televiper thing? It's like whatever was going on would go across their visor.
What is it?
And they wouldn't put them. Obviously, they can't put them backwards because you gotta.
Did they not talk?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I think
it
they were
says
talking earlier.
Whenever he's jerking off,
What do you think?
titties.
Well, it's not like what they're. Well, maybe it is what they're thinking. Bizarre.
It says 80085.
Well done.
Like, look, he's eating, and it just says sandwich across his visor.
I do like here. This I felt like at about 1 hour 53 seconds, Falcon's sitting down to the communications bridge here, and I thought the Cobra microphone was a little extra.
Weird. It's weird.
Why does that have to be that way? The microphone is in the shape of a cobra with the hood and fanged mouth and everything.
It looks like a real snake.
Yeah, it's not even colored gray. It's green and red.
And if they're gonna do that, why didn't they just make a lot of other stuff Cobra centric? But somebody was feeling very creative that day. He attempts a transmission, but the room is penetrated by vipers. He knocks a couple out, but is ultimately felled by the butt of a rifle. The renegades, they bust out of the Terradrome.
Well, this part where Sarge straight up tips over an enormous shipping container.
Good job. It's awesome.
He's just a superhero. It reminded me of The Rock in Fast and Furious, I think, 7, where he punches the same kind of shipping container, dents it, and moves it.
Yeah, that's impossible.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, shit. All right, so...
Boom.
Some great explosion animation at this point. So the Renegades, they're busting out of the Terradrome.
And sorry, the hand-to-hand fighting before that explosion is pretty sweet. I enjoyed it a lot.
Actually, yeah, from this whole sequence is really well drawn, really well animated. From outside the Terradrome, the Renegades are blowing up various Cobra, hardware, and it all looks great.
Red Dog shot just like 4 vehicles in a row very casually.
He has a very good aim.
Yes,
and that pistol is very powerful also. It's time to go, but Sergeant Slaughter notices that Falcon is absent. He inquires where he is. Red Dog says, "Who cares?" Sergeant Slaughter, he's not having that shit. He grabs him by the shirt. He exclaims that, everybody's going home or no one is going home. And then he blows up some more.
Yes.
Cobra
this is where you really see
my God.
that Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, he's an honorable man.
Sure.
He's been busting Falcon's
busting
balls,
his hump,
but,
right?
But for a good reason. He's trying to get him in line.
He's there to that's Falcon is with Sergeant Slaughter to have his balls busted.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, they wouldn't have sent him there if they didn't think there was some promise.
That's right.
This part where
slapping
Serpentor is slapping him, it's so coming off of a scene where there was so much hand-to-hand combat and explosions. It's so quiet and hilarious because you just hear.
It's oddly it's funny and violent at the same time.
It makes me laugh so hard.
Just to watch him get beat like this.
It's just so quiet and slight and just like.
But it would be in there. It would be quiet. Would you rather there's some music playing in the background?
I'm just saying. It's very funny. It just sounds very funny.
I wouldn't call it torture, but there is some violence taking place on Falcon by Serpentor in order to extract information. He's asking, what's the purpose of their mission? And Falcon is not giving up the goods. He continues to take the backhands. Serpentor tells him he can't hold out forever, and Falcon notes that he doesn't have to. He just has to hold out for 5 more minutes. Nobody even thinks to understand what that could possibly mean, but Serpentor says that if Falcon won't answer to him, he will answer to Nemesis Enforcer. And the music at this point, by the way, we're at the end of the minute, the music at this point is straight out of Season 3 of Transformers. It is all Transformers music.
You can't resist forever. You're right. All I gotta do is hold out for 5 more minutes. Insolent fool! If you won't answer me, you can answer Nemesis Enforcer.
How do you know how much time?
I was going to say kudos to him for being, 1, knowing how much time they were going to set it for, and 2, being down to the second right.
He's got a good internal clock.
So that's the end of our episode, guys.
Awesome.
We did it.
Bye. No, wait.
This was a terrible episode. Ryan, maybe we've got a little bit of the...
Script deviations.
Yes, well, as per usual, we could not get our hands on that script at TFCon LA, but we have the Buzz Dixon commentary from the DVD. Okay. So in this one, right up top, Buzz says, Shipwreck is my all-time favorite character.
Yes.
Yep. Unfortunately, we just couldn't find any place for him in the movie. If Hasbro told me you could do anything you want in this movie, this film would have been 90 minutes of Shipwreck on leave in Tijuana.
That'd be so awesome. That would be such an awesome movie.
Yeah. I bet that it wouldn't.
I like the idea of Shipwreck on leave at Tijuana while all this stuff is still happening. He just doesn't care. I'm on vacation.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Where Roadblock gets blinded, he said, I had an idea for years about a screenplay in the vein of The Defiant Ones, which is Sidney Poitier and Tony Curtis, where they're fugitives shackled together, in which a blinded white bigot would have to carry a crippled black man in order to escape a forest fire. It's not the worst. It's not a bad idea. Nothing ever came of it, and he just put it into here.
Yeah. I mean, you had to have enemies working together to stay alive.
Right. Sergeant Slaughter and his men are so tough they eat pork sushi, which is a reference to those ribs did look a little undercooked.
Yeah.
They're very pink.
I guess of all the things that thing was welded out of, I didn't see a smokehouse.
That's right. And they weren't using that fireplace.
That's right. That was just to keep them warm at the hearth.
kill whatever. So with to Falcon's no weapon challenge, Buzz was in the military, and he says there is actually a practical reason for not taking weapons on reconnaissance. In World War II, they sent recon teams out without weapons because they didn't want the men to be tempted to shoot their way out of a tough situation, so as not to alert the enemy as to how far they'd penetrated behind enemy lines.
Falcon probably knew that.
Yeah, probably. That was probably his impetus. And then Sarge was like, I like the way you think.
Close off.
I don't know why you want Sarge to be the aggressive, Anyway.
They'll be able to slip through those...
Now everybody get greased up. We can go through those ducts.
Yeah, exactly.
I got the butter. The animators had a real hard time keeping Sarge's hat on model and in scale, which I can see that.
I mean, we're paused at 30:58, and his hat looks very tiny on his head. It almost looks like he's wearing a fedora.
And in reference to that fight scene in the armory, he says, "You have no idea how difficult it was to animate all those poker chips like flying around." Which I can see that now.
Neither does he. He didn't do it.
I know. I'm like, why are you taking credit? Like you can hand through those. As for Super Sarge, he says, "I didn't write that as being that big of an object he toppled over."
Yeah. I do like the idea of Slaughter's hat slowly getting smaller
until it's like just a little beanie. As for, side note on that, as to you know who Power Girl is in the DC universe?
Nah.
Well, she's got very large breasts, and the story behind that is the artist who initially drew her consecutively gave her bigger and bigger breasts until they noticed. And apparently it took a while because she's very stacked.
And then when they noticed, did they say,
I guess they were like, stop. Yeah, like, that's good.
Don't change it. We still like it.
She has one of those little windows so you can see her cleavage.
Yeah, she's got big breasts.
I mean, some superheroes can be Zoftig.
Sure.
Yeah, I've got no problems with that. I mean, all right.
As for Falcon's torture, Buzz said, I was very happy to write this scene. I was taught when I was in the Army, as an American, you don't torture prisoners. I was happy to write it then, and I'm happier now. Which is a bit of a muddled thesis, but I think he's trying to say good guys don't torture.
Yeah.
And that's all that I had for his commentary for this minute.
Cool.
This 10 minutes.
I love Buzz Dixon's comments. Like, he really...
Well, some of them are better than others, as we'll see in the next episode.
Oh, okay. Oh, boy.
Shots fired.
I like Buzz Dixon too, but sometimes his like the way he delivers things, I'm like, you've said this 150 times, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do?
True.
The movie is 30 years old.
I shook Buzz Dixon's hand.
That's right. You met him.
Shake my hand. I'm just transferring
now
his power to you.
by the.
It's a Petrian touch. There we go. Thank you.
By the transitive property, I have shook Buzz Dixon's hand.
That's right. You're welcome. So I've got a few voice actors that I'd want to cover here real quickly. Awesome. We already covered Scarlet, who was in this scene, and I believe we've also covered Mainframe, Leatherneck, Lifeline, and Doc. So Doc was done by, you'll recall, we covered Buster Jones in the Transformers series.
Are you sure this isn't for the next one?
No, they were all on the truck. talking shit about how smart they were for moving the BET.
Oh, I didn't have Doc until the next one. Okay.
Oh, well, fuck you then.
Yep.
He does show up in the next one, though. Okay, so Doc is voiced by Buster Jones. We have actually already covered Buster Jones in our Transformers work as the voice of Blaster. Mm-hmm. And as you know, he's deceased. R.I.P. Lifeline was portrayed by a gentleman by the name of Stan Wanjo. Apologies if I don't pronounce that correctly. 20 episodes of G.I. Joe as Lifeline. He was DuckTales, Real Ghostbusters, and live-action roles on Santa Barbara, The Golden Girls, Knots Landing, and a lot of other ones. Those are just the ones I knew. And then Leatherneck was voiced by actor Chuck McCann, who is actually very prolific. Voice actor, comedian, puppeteer. His career dated back to the 1960s. I wrote 1060s. That is a long, prolific career.
I also like
He's been around since the Norman Conquest.
That's right.
Good drop in,
Wow,
Caleb.
dang.
I also like how you spell DuckTales D-U-K Tales.
Well, I'm trying to go fast. It takes a long time to prepare. Anyway, with Captain Kangaroo is where he started. Live action, he was on Santa Barbara, a show called Far Out Space Nuts.
I know that show.
Really?
Yes.
He was also on Robin Hood Men in Tights, Dracula Dead and Loving It, so that whole like kind of Zucker Brothers humor thing. Voice work, Space Stars. He was Inky and Blinky, very versatile in the Pac-Man animated series. A lot of episodes, 21 episodes as a character called Orlok in a show called Galtar and the Golden Lance.
Damn.
A lot of the Trauma things, Toxic Crusader, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
So he was just like, I'll do anything silly.
Yeah. Animaniacs, a lot of Disney stuff. Rescue Rangers, Gummy Bears, Winnie the Pooh, Tailspin. His most prolific role was 57 episodes of DuckTales as the voice of Duckworth, the butler of Uncle Scrooge. And that's all I've got on voice actors.
Fun.
So maybe we should go into our
Iconic Joe Mates.
I noticed you did not make it longer.
I didn't. Listen, I got a lot of stuff to do.
He does. Caleb, iconic moment.
Faceplate comes off Cobra Commander.
That's pretty easy.
I feel like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I specifically wrote his oafish teeth. I don't understand how he can talk at all. You can't talk with that kind of overbite.
Right. Absurd.
The most absurd. Well, okay. That's it then. We're done.
You want to give out the details?
So thank you to all those who've been supporting us at the APDC store. Cup recruitment poster by Ryan J. We have 2 left.
Oh my god.
Shit.
They're really good posters too.
Limited editions.
There's a few more pins than that. The APDC limited edition pin series #1. I want to get started on another series.
Yeah, me too. I will say also, Aaron, I have pretty much finished the Starscream, that Pathetic Fools poster. I wanted to send it over to you to get some tweaks like you did with the Cup recruitment poster to make it look all polished.
Exciting.
Could this be something we would give to the winner of the G My Joe File Card Challenge?
If they like Starscream, I guess so.
Just put a Flint hat on his head.
Put a tiny little Sergeant Slaughter hat on his
Even
head.
better.
There you go.
I'm doing none of those things.
Appreciate your patronage. More artwork on the way, I promise. And other than that, please listen, subscribe to the show, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, and TuneIn. There's
5 stars, please.
Social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all of them at APOD.
If we're still on Twitter.
And then the web presence, autopoddecepticast.com. I'm sure Ryan will post some pictures of Power Girl.
There were some pretty fun screen grabs on this, like Sarge standing up in this little speeder boat. Like there's
This
some
little
stuff.
hat here.
Yeah, the little hat.
227 is pretty good. So peep the shop, check the merch, buy something. G My Joe challenge.
Yes.
Post it and roast it. Bye everybody.
Thank you for listening. Bye, bye, bye. Oh, there is one thing, and I teased this to Aaron at Victoria's graduation celebration.
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you guys about some family news.
Oh, do you want to do that like in the formal
Do we have to do
like
everything on the
context
podcast?
of the show, or do you want to hear it now?
Oh, I thought I'd just tag it on the end.
All right, go for it.
Oh, so it must be funny, not like it'd be weird if you just said something that was really dark and sad.
Oh, yeah, my dad died in a plane crash.
Yeah.
No. It is related to my father, though.
Good old Floyd.
Yep.
Floyd Jett is his name.
So he got a call from this woman he hadn't seen in, I don't know, 50 years. Because her daughter got a hit on a genealogy website that said you may be closely related to Jeremy Jett and Cliff Jett. Mm-hmm. Jeremy being my brother, Cliff being my uncle. And yada yada yada. Turns out that this woman is someone that my dad used to work with whenever he was in college on summer break. He was selling encyclopedias door to door, and she was one of the salespeople. And she had an on-again, off-again romance with the owner of the company. But then while it was off again, I guess she and my dad got together. Well, I have an older sister.
Floyd, you old dog.
And she didn't. The daughter didn't know anything about this. And the mother never told her. She said that she wondered if maybe it was my dad's because she looked a lot like him. But never brought it up until this genealogy hit, and she's asking her mom, do you know who these people are? And
her mom's like, oh yeah,
oh, ew, blah. But yeah, she's 49 and she lives in Texas.
And is she expecting Floyd to cough up some money or something?
Pay some of them reparations.
I believe she's a doctor, or her daughter's going to school to be a doctor. I don't know what she does, but I mean she's got to be. I mean, my dad's 70, so she's got to be in their 60s probably. So he had a kid when he was 20 and didn't know it. The daughter's 49, so it's my older sister's 49.
Oh, I understand now.
So yeah, but you're saying
I've now done the math in my head properly.
Yeah, the mother's probably in her 60s.
Wow, how's your dad taking all that?
He went down to and met them in Arkansas and met the daughter and everything. There are pictures, which I do not have on me at the moment, but...
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah,
they were all cool about it.
What are their names? Let's Facebook them.
I don't remember.
You're hoping she's hot somehow?
She looks a lot like my sister.
Sorry.
Floyd Jett... bastard.
You think that'll come up in Facebook?
Oh, nothing. Okay.
Floyd
Fest. I want to go to Floyd Fest 2019.
Let's see what that's all about. It's just an orgy with Ryan's dad. It's in Floyd, Virginia. It looks like a garbage hippie jam
It's
band
the
festival.
string cheese incident.
Yep.
All right. See you later, Floyd Fest.
It's interesting. I think this is going to be more and more it's also being used, the genealogy sites and stuff like that are also being used to solve crimes, but I think we're going to find a lot of people with secret families.
Probably. Yeah. I'm wondering now, I'm waiting for the shoe to drop on my family or something.
Have you done a genealogy test?
No.
I think you might find out you're closer relation to Floyd Jett than your own parents.
I was thinking
I would rock. The meeting would be brothers.
I saw the picture your sister did on the Snapchat of her as a man.
Oh, God.
Put it right next to Caleb's picture. That was pretty
creepy.
funny.
It was really creepy. I said it was terrifying.
I want to do the DNA test. I just haven't done it yet.
I want to do that as well, and I also want to do the health aspect, so you can check out and see how you're going to die, basically.
I can already tell you how you're going to die. Heart attack.
Thanks.
I mean, that's how I'll die. That's how everything in my family is pulmonary related.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me, it'll be probably heart attack as well.
Hey, 3 for 3.
And if a heart attack doesn't get me, dementia certainly will.
Let's hope the first one gets you first. I'd hate to see your mind go.
If it does, I'm going to start. I'm going to be like the Svengali. You should sign this paper.
It'd be interesting to have you on, when we're on episode 5,000, and you're just kind of I don't know.
What are we doing here?
Cut that out. I don't like that.
And interestingly, you're kind of back to playing with the toys again instead of just having them on the shelf.
Since I don't have any kids of my own, how people with Alzheimer's often forget their kids.
The DNA test might prove otherwise.
That's true. But, people with Alzheimer's will forget their children or forget that this person next to them is their kid. I'll probably think you guys are my kid. I'll live
that's kind of sweet. We'll play along.
All right.
Thanks, Dad.
I appreciate it.
Can I have some running around money?
Yeah. Hey, Dad. Yo,
By
Pops.
then it'll all be credits.
Just scan it into my palm.
Yeah.
Blow cells, we're we sell good.